So I recently finished reading the Dexter novels, and there were actually some moments so disturbing that I just can't seem to get them out of my mind. And I am 100% convinced that if these horrific scenes were added in the TV show, then it would have gotten cancelled after the very first season. So if you think that the bathtub scenes with Trinity were dark, trust me, you only scratched the surface. Today we're diving into 3 of the most messed up moments from the Dexter book series, from serial mutilation to cannibalism. And before we move on, sensitive viewers might actually want to turn this video off because the following stories are quite brutal and graphic. First up we have Dr. Danko, one of the most twisted characters in Dexter's universe. He is the big bad in Dearly Devoted Dexter, which is the 2nd book. Now Danko is described as being a shorter guy with big glasses, and judging by his dialect, he seems to be Cuban. He actually comes from Sergeant Dokes' past, back when Dokes was in the army. Dr. Danko, he targets members from his unit that he thinks betrayed him and left him to the Cubans in El Salvador. But what does Danko do to his victims? Well, Dr. Danko's methods is that he kidnaps his victims, drugs them, and over the course of several days he plays hangman with them. But that doesn't seem too bad, huh? To play just hangman all day long? Well, like you probably guessed, the game of hangman has a bit of a twist to it. If the victim guesses wrong, Dr. Danko would remove one of their body parts. Could be arms, legs, genitals, facial features, and even their tongue. And since you need your tongue to speak, the victim doesn't even have a fair chance to guess and answer correctly once it's been removed. And the worst part is that he forces them to watch the entire process by propping up a mirror in front of them. They're awake, they feel everything, and they watch themselves disappear piece by piece. And when I read this, I felt very disturbed because I constantly put myself in their situation, just imagining how it would feel to have all your limbs just amputated and removed and just be turned into this lifeless, like, shell of a person, and still being able to comprehend everything that is happening to you. Just watching yourself in the mirror, just disappearing piece by piece. These victims just gets mutilated to a blob in the end. They don't even represent how they look like. They don't even look like a person or anything closely to how they looked like before, because everything had been removed. Yeah, so that's horrific, okay? That's like disgusting. I don't even know if I can put this on YouTube, but yeah, if you see this, then obviously I did put it on YouTube, but yeah, that's disgusting, okay? And despite his death, the horrors of Dr. Danko lived on beyond Dearly Devoted Dexter through Dokes. Dokes, he was a victim of Danko, but made it out alive. And you could just imagine what shape he is in. So he spends the rest of his life without his limbs and unable to talk. If you, like, by some miracle, just forget what happened and move on with your life and, read the other books, then Sergeant Dokes will remind you about this horrific moment. Now let's talk about something that isn't just disturbing on a psychological level, but also on a supernatural one. In Dexter in the Dark, which is the 3rd book, Dexter uncovers something even he struggles to comprehend: the Moloch cult. If you didn't know, Moloch isn't only a thing in the world of Dexter. Moloch is actually a thing in the world of, our world. Moloch could be described as a false god and is mentioned in the Bible. This is what Wikipedia has to say about the Bible and their mentions of Moloch. The Bible strongly condemns practices that are associated with Moloch, which are heavily implied to include child sacrifice. So you could already guess where this moment is going. The cult kidnaps Aster and Cody with the intent to burn them alive in a kind of a furnace structure. Now, just as the cult leader, the avatar of Moloch, is just about to kill Aster, out of nowhere, Cody just casually stabs him in the back and, of course, kills him like it's nothing. This Dexter novel moment is disturbing in 2 different ways. One, the most obvious: cult members kidnapping children with the intent of burning them alive. And if you have seen any illustrations of Moloch, you know it looks very creepy, like very sadistic and like satanistic and demonic, many icks. Yeah, It's very, very messed up, and everything that has to do with kids getting hurt, it really brings things to another level of disturbing. And to a young child, killing a person like it's nothing. I mean, it was to save his sister, but still quite dark. Now let's dive into one of the most gruesome moments in the entire Dexter series, the cannibal vampires from Dexter is Delicious, the 5th book in order. Now a very, very quick backstory or summary. The police station is investigating the disappearance and potential kidnapping of 2 students, and judging by the large amount of blood and absence of bodies, Dexter thinks that these missing students have faked their own kidnapping. And a bunch of things happened that lead to Dexter finding out about a group of people that, well, eats people. And they of course have one of the missing girls. Dexter is able to track her down and comes to save the poor girl from the cannibals. And now the most shocking and disturbing piece of literature I have ever laid my eyes on. The girl reveals to Dexter that she wants to be eaten. Like, let me repeat that. She wants to be cooked and consumed. And then the books go on about how much this girl wants to be eaten, and let me tell you, it's
pretty fucking weird.
Yeah, this is straight up horror movie stuff. When she finds out that Dexter wants to save her, she actually locks them both in this refrigerator unit, so Dexter is also trapped with her, and this is when she tells this weird ass story. She actually locks them both in. Locked in. Well, of course, Dexter escapes because there are a bunch of books after that, but Samantha, she did get cooked, okay? And I'm talking literally, she got cooked, but she was still alive. And if I remember this correctly, she asked Dexter if she tasted it good. Okay, like that was her final words. If I am 99% sure that was her final words, that she asked Dexter, did I taste good? And I mean, if that is what you like, if that is your final words and that is the thing that you're concerned about, like, yeah, that's very weird. The most disturbing thing about this is that just how much this poor girl wanted to be eaten, like how much she was brainwashed and groomed by these people. I mean, she had had these thoughts for a long time, but this group of people really brought that out of her and really like manipulated her. And yeah, it was very, very gross to see. They even drugged her so that she wouldn't change her mind and she would be docile. The disturbing thing about this is that you have, like, I have never heard of anything like this before, okay? The only person that I think I've heard about this before is probably Masuka, because he knows every weird fetishes that is like that exist, okay? So he would probably know about this, but like an old person don't casually walks around and think about this stuff, okay? Like, all these 3 are very different from each other. Like I said before, we have Dr. Danko, that is like probably the most like common disturbing moment, like doing physical harm and like torture, okay? And then we have the Moloch, they obviously do physical harm, but they do it to kids, and it's also a little bit more creepy and disturbing when it has to do with some ancient creature or whatever, and like a little bit of supernatural to it as well. But this one is just like, how, I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, I can't really even describe it. I'm not even gonna try to describe it anymore. That's just sick, okay? Crazy. So yeah, the Dexter books are quite dark. I really recommend you read them if you haven't read them. I know that some people don't like all the books, but yeah, I think most of the books were pretty enjoyable. So I intentionally didn't, talk too much about this stuff surrounding these moments, because I don't want to spoil too much, so you could still read it and find it enjoyable. But yeah, they are very, very good. And yeah, if you have read the books, then please tell me what Dexter book series moment was the most messed up in your opinion. If you want more deep dives into the twisted world of Dexter, well then don't forget to like and subscribe, and I see you